Today I am going to teach you Euclid's geometry, means Euclid's axioms and postulates. So before that I am going to tell you what are the role of the different mathematicians in geometry. Around before 500 BC, that is around 500 BC, the great mathematician Thales, who was given the theorem or statement that in a circle, first mathematician who was given the statement about the circle, that the diameter in a circle divides the whole circle into two equal segments. Like this is circle, this is the center of the circle, and this one is the diameter, which is the longest chord of the circle, which divides this whole circle into two equal halves, or bisecting the circle into two equal parts. So he is given the first time he is given the statement about this circle. And his student Pythagoras, we know Pythagoras theorem about right angle triangle, and Pythagoras was the student of Thales, who is given so many theorems and formulas and statements to geometry. That's why these all the things are known as the Pythagoras theorem. He is given around 572 BC. Now, in around 300 BC, in Alexandria, Egypt country, Euclid has given so many statements and so many works of all the mathematicians. He has collected all the works of geometry, and he has given how many? All the works into certain elements, and all the elements has divided into 13 books or chapters. His work has divided into certain type of books, and in each books so many definitions he has written. So in the book number 1 we have 23 definitions. I will teach you all the definitions, and while stating these definitions he has accepted some assumptions. While proving the statements, these statements cannot be proved, but then also he has given some logical assumptions. That assumptions is divided into two types. One is axioms, another one is postulates. What do you mean by axioms and postulates? Postulates means those who cannot be proved, all the statements, but they are of like certain universal truths, those who are not related to geometry. And postulates means those statements and those definitions or assumptions he has given for specific to geometry. This is all about axioms and postulates. And now we will detailed study about the definitions, axioms and postulates. All the definitions he has written in chapter number 1, that is book number 1, is of 23 definitions. So here few definitions we have written. A point has no part. Simple, a point on a plane surface, and we know the surface is made by so many points, infinity points inside. So here point has no part, it is simple point only. A line is a breathless length. Suppose a line, this is one line, it can be extended infinitely both end or both sides, so it is breathless, no breath at all, so it is length only, simple. The ends of a line are points only, because on a line infinity so many points are there, that means a line is made by only points. So here the end also will be only points. A straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points in itself. I told you the line is made by only infinity points inside, so here evenly with the points on itself, it is made by only points. A surface has length and breadth. This is one surface we can consider plane surface, so length and breadth. And a surface has a length and breadth only. The edge of a surface are lines. Now look at here, this is the surface, it is made by length and breadth, so these are made by only line segments, or we can say it is line. The edge of a surface are lines. A plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines inside, or we can say, suppose this is one edge and it is made by lines only, so many lines can be created or imagined on the surface itself, and this side also. So the plane surface is made by so many or infinity points inside or lines inside. The plane surface is made by its edge lines and evenly or infinity lines inside the surface. This is what all the definitions he has kept in the chapter number 1, that is book number 1. Euclid, while explaining the definitions of the chapter number 1, that is book number 1, he assumed so many properties to prove this or for stating this, because these definitions are difficult to prove. That's why he has stated in by some assumptions, that is called the properties. And these properties are of two types. Assumption or properties are of two types, that is one, axioms and postulates. Axioms are what? These axioms are universal truth which cannot be proved, and these axioms are not related to the geometry. Now postulates which are related to geometry, and he has given 5 postulates in relation with the geometry and 7 axioms. Out of this few we are discussing 7 axioms and 5 postulates. Here the axioms, Euclid's axioms, he has given 7 axioms here. Now first axiom says things which are equals to the same thing are equal to one another. For example, I and you, my property is worth 50 lakh and your property is also worth 50 lakh. So you and I both are equal because our properties are what? Equal here. So here it can be present like this: if A equals to B and C equals to B, that means both the properties are equal here. A values becomes B and C values also becomes B. So here implies we can say A equals to C. This is what? Right. Same way, if A equals to B equals to C equals to B, then A and C will be definitely equal because their values are what? Already equal. Now second one is that if equals are added to equals, then the whole are equal. For example, here A equals to B, they already equal. Now I am going to add something, A plus C and B plus C. A and B already equal. Now what I have done, equal things I have added to these both, C and C. So definitely A plus C equals to will be B plus C. You are having 50 lakh worth property, I am also having 50 lakh property. Now if I will get profit of 25 lakh and you will get also profit of 25 lakh, then we will definitely equal only, because your amount will be 75 lakh and I will have 75 lakh only. That's why it is said, if equals are added to equals, then the whole equal will be equal always. Same way, third one is, if equals are subtracted from the equal, then the remainder also will be equal. For example, A equals to B, they both are already equal. Then same equal amount of things will be subtracted from the both. Then it will be A minus C equals to B minus C. Then definitely they will be what? Equal. Already A and B were equal. Now equal amount of C subtracted from the both the A and B. So the result will be what? A minus C, this is remainder, and B minus C, this is the remainder or difference. So definitely they will be equal only. We can take example, your property worth is 50 lakh, my property worth is 50 lakh, and we both suffered the loss of 10 lakh. So now it will be remainder is what? 40 lakh. So we already were equal, now also we became equal. So this is what? The axioms of a third one. While stating the fourth axioms, we can say things which are coincide with one another are equal to one another. For example, one equilateral triangle ABC, another triangle, it's also equal triangle, equilateral triangle PQI. Here the angle of the three angles of the equilateral triangle are 60, and here also 60 degree. Suppose these three sides will be equal to the measure of the three sides of the triangle PQR, then this area of the triangle and this area of the triangle will be what? Equal. Their sides are also equal and their angles are also equal. So if this PQR triangle will superimpose on the triangle ABC, that means we can kept overlapping on ABC, then this one will come PQR. So both the triangles one another. So here these two triangles equal area or magnitude what? Equal. So here it can be said things which are coincide one another are equal to one another. So here triangle ABC and PQR are equal because they are possibility to coincide on one another or to superimpose, to kept overlapping to one another. So here triangle ABC equals to triangle PQR. Same way we can take point P and here the point Q. Now thing is that this P point only the Q only because it is coincide on the P itself. So here P point and Q point are both equal here or same we can say. Now fifth one is that the whole is greater than the part. For example, I will take one example, fractional form. This is one pizza of a whole piece. If I have divided into 4 equal parts, among them this part will be one of them out of this 4 part or out of the whole part. So this one will be 1 upon 4 and total part is what? 4 upon 4. So 4 upon 4 means what? Whole part, that is what? 1. So 1 upon 4 means one small part out of this 4 part or of the whole pizza. So here definitely this whole part will be more than the small part. It may be 1 upon 4 or 2 upon 4 or 3 upon 4, right? So here this is one example of the whole is always greater than the part because part is the one small portion of the whole part. Things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. For example, A and B both are equal. These two things are equal already. So if you double them, for example 2A, A plus A 2A, B plus B what? 2B. So here also 2A equals to will be 2B because 2 is multiplied both of them. I have given already example. Your property is worth 50 lakh, my property is worth of 50 lakh. Now it is doubled, so I become 100 lakh and you become 100 lakh. So definitely we both are equal. So here also 2A equals to 2B because it's double of equals. And in equation form we can do it. 2A equals to 2B, then A equals to implies A equals to 2B upon 2. So 2 cut, that is what? Definitely we will get A equals to B here. So double of 2 equal things will be always equal only. Now seventh one, things which makes half of the 2 equal things, then the result will be definitely equal. For example, here A and here B, they both are already equal. Now we will make them half, that is what? So A upon 2 equals to B upon 2 also will be there. How? For example, A and B both are equal. I will make it to half or multiply by 1 upon 2. Here also multiply by 1 upon 2. So if you will see here, A upon 2 equals to B upon 2. In equation form, if you will see, A equals to B upon 2, then 2 will go up. Now 2 will cut and A equals to B here. So this way all the axioms argumentally or logically can be proved, but there is no theoretical proof. So here these all are what? 7 type of axioms what Euclid has given in his chapter number 1 or book number 1. Out of that Euclid's all the postulates, few postulates I have written, around 5 postulates we will discuss here, but here 4 postulates I have written here. Postulates means those assumptions for proving the definitions or stating the definitions of Euclid's, they are related to geometry, they are called the postulates. So your first one is a straight line may be drawn from any point to another any point. It means it says from or by joining 2 points only one straight lines can be found here. We can take example here 1 point here and here 1 point. So through these 2 points A and B, only one line can be drawn. That is what? This is one straight line. Suppose you will try for making another straight line, then this one will pass through like this, which will not pass to B. Same way this way, same way this way, same way this way. Or if you want to try to join both the points without this line L, then this straight line will be a curved line, not a straight line. So only and only one straight line can be joined 2 points, or we can say by joining 2 points we can draw only one straight line. This is what. Now point number 2 says a terminated line can be produced indefinitely. Terminated lines can be produced indefinitely. For example, one line segment is here, P and Q. If you want to produce both sides, right and left, then this one can be produced indefinitely, endlessly. That's why it is denoted by arrow marks. It can be extended both side endlessly, infinitely. So this is postulate of 2, that is terminated line can be produced indefinitely both sides. A circle can be drawn with only a center and any radius. You can take anywhere on any place for constructing the circle. Center point here you can take by taking this center, or large, then by taking the center. This is one radius, second radius. So we can take so many radius, or you can construct so many radius by taking any type of a center and any type of a radius. Now fourth one, all right angles are equal to another. You know the right angles means what? The measure of a triangle, or the measure of a angle of a triangle. If 90 degree, then that is what? Right angle. So here if we will take one angle here, this is 90 degree, another angle, this is also 90 degree only. So measure of any two right angles will be always equal, because its measure is what? 90 degree. So here also 90 degree and here also 90 degree. So this is what? All right angles are equal to one another. Here, while explaining the fifth postulates of a Euclid, we will see here, if a straight line is falling on two straight lines making the interior angles on the same side. Here are two straight lines and one third straight line is falling on these two, means intersecting at two different points. Now question is here, then the same side of the interior angles and same side of the third, that is what? Transversal. This is intersecting, that's why it is called transversal. So here angle 1, angle 2, angle 3 and angle 4. These 1, 2, 3, 4 are interior angles, and same side of the third line or transversal, that is what? 1 and 2 we can consider together, or 3 and 4 we can consider together. So now question is that if these two angles sum will be less than 180 degree, or two right angles means one angle is 90 degree, then two right angles will be 180 degree. So here less than will be 180 degree, then that side these two lines will intersect at any point if extended or produced indefinitely. If these two angles sum will be less than 90 degree or 180 degree, so these two lines will be moved towards itself. So when we will extend them, then they will meet at a one point. This is what it says, the postulate says. We know if these two lines are parallel and if one third line is intersecting this both, then out of these four interior angles, that is what? 1, 2, 3 and 4, we know these two angles sum will be 180 degree, then these two lines will be what? Parallel to each other. And we can say if these two lines are parallel to each other and this third line intersecting, then one side of this third line, these two angles sum will be how much? 180 degree. If it is not 180 degree, if it is less than 180 degree, then this side will be definitely they will meet each other. If it will be more than 180 degree, like here 3 and 4, they are moving from one to another one, so their sum will be more than 180 degree, so they never will be meet each other towards left, they will meet each other towards the right, because why here these two angle sum is less than 180 degree. This is what postulate 5 of Euclid. So your Euclid has given axioms and postulates. We have discussed here 7 axioms and 5 postulates of Euclid. Thank you.